What's up, guys? Coach Austin here with your Orange Theory workout tip of the day. And today we're going to talk about more middle distance sprint rowing, specifically for today's purpose, a 300-meter row. Now, when you get into those middle distance sprints, so something between 300 meters to 600 or so, it's not necessarily a max out crazy go insane with it type effort. You do have to kind of pace yourself for it. But we can use a technique that can help us get a little bit more out of these shorter but kind of middle distance rowing efforts, a thing that I like to call the execution. Now, what is the execution? It's essentially the moment when you get to the last 100 meters of your effort. So in this case, a 300-meter row where you start off, going really hard, really strong because it is a sprint row. But by the time you get to the last 100, that's usually when the real fatigue starts to set in. And then your body and mind's first go-to is to slow things down as you get towards the finish. But if you keep the idea of the execution in mind, well, we shift things around a little bit. And instead of slowing down, you actually speed yourself up. Now, does that actually translate to more speed? Not necessarily, but in most cases, yes. And so the thing to keep in mind is utilizing your stroke rate. That is what the execution is all about. So whatever stroke rate you are holding for, almost all of your effort, whatever that distance is, when you get to the last 100 meters, it's time to bump whatever that stroke rate was, bump it up by at least 2. You really have to force your way back up the recovery and try to jump back with that same intensity. You really try to gas out your legs, similar to an all-out effort would be on a treadmill. But I've mentioned it time and time again how, unlike a treadmill, there is no speed setting on a rower. You can't just tap a number and then all of a sudden be rowing up to that speed. It's up to you to make that shift. So go into these middle distance efforts with the mentality of the execution for that last 100 meters. So give it your all for that first bit. If it's 300 meters, that first 200 going as hard as you can. You hit that last 100 meters, the last 12 to 15 strokes or so. Execute. Bring that rate up and just go crazy with it and leave no regrets on that machine. You do that, you might row your best 300 meters ever right there, right then. But it's all about the mindset and being able to shift yourself up for that last little bit. So get out there and execute.